Hi all, welcome to Creative Hobby Club and the C language programming session wherein we will have the recap from the last week, and in this week we will discuss about conditional statements and loops. So in the last week's session we have discussed about data types wherein you have signed and unsigned data types in C language. So let's consider signed and unsigned integer in C, whereas C allocates 2 bytes that can vary from compiler to compiler. So for unsigned int, all bits are used to represent the magnitude, thus 0 to 2 power 16 minus 1 can be represented. And for signed int, 1 bit is reserved for the sign, 0 for positive and 1 for negative. Thus, positive numbers can range from 0 to 2 power 15 minus 1. For negative numbers, we use 2's complement. So what's 2's complement here? 2's complement to represent a negative number, say minus x in n bits. For compute 2 power n minus x, represent this magnitude as unsigned in n bits. So the range is 0 to minus 2 power 15. And here in this we can see the complete, not the complete list, but coming to the character and integer along with long is covered for the size of memory, range of values, and the format specifiers that you can use. So for character type, unsigned character and signed character will occupy 1 byte, and the range of values is minus 128 to 127 or 0 to 55. That's the same for signed. And when it comes to format specifier, it is percentage. And for integer, it depends on the compiler to compiler. So sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 4 bytes. So if it is 4 bytes, it is 2 bytes. And value. And for signed integers, unsigned integers, you have the same range again, but it is from 0 to the representations. That's the reason it is clearly mentioned. For integer, it is the format specifier is percentile d, and for unsigned integer, it is percentile ud. Same way, you have short, unsigned short, log, and unsigned log. You can see the same representation. So let's continue with this week's topics. That's with logical expressions that you have to go into conditional statements. So we have 4 relational operators in C language, that is less than or equals to, greater than, and greater than or equals to. The 2 equality operators, that is double equal to is for equal to comparison, and not equals to is to compare whether the both are equal or not. And then 3 logical connectives that we have. One is AND, the other one is OR, and the last one is NOT. So the integer type of value, it is 1 is for true, 0 is for false. So for some example, if we have x is equals to 8, y equals to 3, and z equals to 5, where what is the value for the expression that we have below? X is greater than or equals to 10, that is false. Here, and we have and y less than or equals to 5, that is yes, that is true. Or z double equals to true. So here, this complete expression x greater than 10 and y less than 5 is, both of them are false. Sorry, x greater than or equals to 10 is false, y less than or equals to less than 5 is true, but the expression and will give you false, or z double equals to true here, so that is true. And when you compare with the precedence of operators, you will get the expression value as true. So you can refer the last lecture that we have to understand the precedence of operators. Okay, then let's move on to conditional statements where you have the ternary operator. This is called as ternary operator. With this, you can substitute if-else statements in this particular, which you will learn further in this session itself. So a conditional expression is of the form expression question mark expression 2 hyphen expression 3, whereas you have to end up with a semicolon so that the statement can be ended, because each and every statement in C language should end with a semicolon. So the expression 1 should be a condition, whereas the expression 2 and the expression 3 can be statements. So, and this can be recursively also. This can be written recursively also. So you can write another ternary operator in expression 2 or 3. So it depends. So the ternary operator is a substitute of if-else. So here, if A less than B question mark in the bracket A less than C question mark, then A is lesser or C is lesser. After colon you have written as C is lesser, or after the colon B less than C, B is lesser or C is lesser. So here it will evaluate the minimum value of A, B, C with the above expression. So this is what it is explaining here. So let's jump on to conditional statements. If else, with the if else syntax, you can write a simple if expression and the statement, or you can write if condition to the expression. You can write a statement and then you can write else and the statements. So if the condition is true, it will be executed whatever the statements that you have in the if block. If the condition is false, it goes to the else and it executes the statements in else block. So you can note that statement is executed can be simple or the compound or the control statements. So simple statement is in the form of expression, which in the compound statement is in the form of which is covering in the flower brackets. So then if you have multiple statements in the same block, then it is called as a compound statement. If it is a simple statement, then it is covering without any flower brackets. So the control statement will be discussed through this lecture, also if else, for switch, etc. So for all those things, we can either write a simple statement or we can use a compound statement. If you have multiple statements, then it is called as a compound statement, which needs to be enclosed in the flower brackets. Else we can write a simple statement level. So let's go with the example so that you can understand in depth. So for examples, you have x equal to 1, y equal to 10, and then when it comes to if y less than 0, y is greater than 0, x equals to 3, else x equals to 5. The output is 1 because it will execute y are greater than 0 less. Then it will execute the statement as it will not execute any of the statements because the else handling else associated with the closest if statement. That's the reason it will not go to that if else statement. That's the reason it will print the x value as 1 here. I think you understand the statement. If you doesn't understand, please comment. I'll answer it with the explanation. So the second statement, if z equals to y less than 0, x equals to 10, print the print statement with x and y and z values. So here the above statement is equals to z equals to y less than 0. So then you are comparing with z. Okay. x equals to 10. So you will get x as 1 and z as 0. Okay. And see the next statements will have while and do while, whereas the while will first evaluate the expression, then it will execute the statements. Whereas in the do while, it is same as above, but the statements will be executed at least once, even though the condition is not true. Okay, so if you see the below example, I equals to 0 and x equals to 0, I less than or equals to 10, I less than 10. Whereas if I percentile 3 double equals to 0, then it will get inside the loop, then it will increment the value, it will assign the value to x. Okay, then it will goes here plus I, then you will get the output as 0 because 0 is divisible by 3 and 3, then you will get 9, then you will get 18. So all these things will be printed. Then so it will not print 18, it should not, because see the IE is getting incremented. Once it goes beyond the 10, it will print. Even if it comes not, it doesn't need to go to beyond 10. If it comes to equal to 10, it will come out. So let's correct this. That is only 0, 9, 0, 3 and 9. Then when it comes to the first statement, you will have the increment, the expression and the condition, and also the increment or decrement, the initialization, condition and the increment or decrement. All these three will be there in a single parenthesis, but they are separated by semicolons here. Please do remember this. When you are in a while loop, you will have to write the initialization statements above the while loop. Then in the while loop, after your statements, you have to write your increment or decrement. So this will help you understand betterly, so that most of the programmers use for loop so that they won't forget all these three. That's the reason. If you forget the expression in any of the loops, it is by default true, and then it will take you to the indefinite loop, that is endless loop. Okay, the program will not come out. Okay, you will understand these things only when you execute them. Okay, so for the this piece of code is equivalent to first statement as follows. Is your expression 1, expression, that is expression 1a, expression 1b. So these both are initialization statements, and then while expression 2 is the condition, and then your statements, and then your increment or decrement in the expression 3a and expression 3b. Same is depicted in the for loop. Expression 1a, comma expression 1b. These are initialization. Then it is separated by a semicolon with expression 2, that is nothing but a condition. Then expression, after expression 2 it is closed, and then you have either increment or decrement, that is expression 3a and expression 3b. After that you have the statements in the for loop. So if it is a single statement, you don't need to enclose them in the lower brackets. That's the reason it is given separately. But in the above statement, it is a compound statement because you need to write the statement along with the increment or decrement statements. That's the reason it is a compound statement. But here it is clearly mentioned that in the first statement, expression 1, expression 2, expression 3 need not necessarily be present. But expression 2, if expression 2 is not there, then the loop will go forever. Or you have to mention explicitly break in the for loop. For example, if you execute this statement in the program, then you will get the below output here with the declaration. And then you have the initialization I is equals to 0, x equals to 0. If I less than 5, I less than 5, then it will increment the I value. Then you have another for loop. If j equals to 0, j less than I, then you are taking j increment. Then x is equals to plus I plus j minus 1. Okay, then automatically you get the value of the getting printed 0, 1, 3, 5, 8, 12. Depends upon the number of iterations that it took. Okay, thank you. Then here you have switch statement wherein it will be used to have check for multiple conditions that are there in the programming. So switch is nothing but you have multiple conditions that needs to be checked, and like our switchboard, if you switch on the fan button, the fan will get on. If you switch off the fan button, the fan will get off. Whereas if you switch on the light, only the light will function. Same way, the functionality can be written in the program. So switch, expression, and the statements. Expression must result in an integer value. Char can be used, but it is compared with the ASCII integer values. So for capital A to capital Z, it is 65 to 90, and small a to small z, it is 97 to 122. And the statement specifies alternate courses of action. That is, whatever the process that needs to be executed, or whatever that you want to execute as a statement, that can be depicted in the program to be written so that it will be used. If you have multiple statements that needs to be written, so the parenthesis. But here in switch case, you have to use parenthesis with switch statement, but not for each and every case expression that we have to write the parenthesis. Even though you have multiple statements, you can directly write in a single without any parenthesis. We can write. Even for multiple case labels as well, we don't need the parenthesis. You can directly mention the case expressions and then you can write the statements directly. So this is the example directly that we have. So letter equals to get char, which reads a character from the keyboard, and then you are comparing that character from multiple values that you have here: small a, small capital A, small e, capital E, small I, small o, capital O, small u, capital U, and then you are writing it as printf. Oh well, else it as default it is you are saying it as consonant, and then you are using break over here. So which is very powerful. Once the case is executed, it automatically breaks the switch so that it will not compare with the other case statements again. So by default, if the condition is not executed else any of the above cases, then it will execute the statements that are written in default. That's the case. So the power of break, to understand, to terminate the loop or exit from a switch, the break is useful. In case several nested while, do while, for or switch statements, a break statement will cause a transfer of control out of the immediate enclosing statement. So the break statement, for example, you have it here. If the get character is at the rate, then it will automatically break it. Else it will increment all the characters that it is read, and then it will execute whatever the statements that are there after the break or before the break that are given. So then the continue statement, use it to bypass the remainder of the current pass through a loop. Computation proceeds directly to the next pass through the loop. So whenever you give it here, it will pass on automatically and then it increments. So go to statement. Note that you can tag any statement in C with an integer, another then you can use go to directly transfer the program control to the statement. So if you want to use any labels in the program and then the go to, then the labels can be used and then you can use go to, but which is not encourageable. So it is difficult to track or hard to debug. So please, if you like the process that we have explained, please subscribe for further updates and also comment if you have anything on queries. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye bye.